The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Oh, hi. I'm Andy MacNeil. No, how's it going, people? Welcome to the Puck Portfolio Friday edition. We'll be looking at Fridays and Saturdays NHL slate here on the show today, presented by NorthStar Bets. We'll be using NorthStar Bets odds on this show. You can check them out via the link in the description below. You can also check out canadasportsbetting.ca. We've got some great content like Northern Exposure, detailing all of the happenings in the Canadian iGaming space. Of course, Jake's takes, giving out some of his best NFL bets for the week, and lots of great stuff around the World Juniors, which is coming to a close, from Jeff Villette. And of course, Jeff will have some great hockey night in Canada coverage heading into the weekend, as I'm sure he'll also have a preview of the upcoming Toronto Maple Leafs game. They're in action, their third game in 4 nights against the San Jose Sharks on Saturday. So check it all out at canadasportsbetting.ca. If you have not already, please like this video and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. Helps out a ton. Now, I know Thursday, that was a tough one to swallow. We got the win on the Pens. Pittsburgh in a wild one with the Boston Bruins. I mean, that first period was super entertaining, and several times throughout that game, because I am a Bruins fan deep down, I forgot that I was cheering for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because it was fun at times watching that game. But thankfully, Pittsburgh got the win 6-5, held off the Bruins, who pushed pretty good. But I mean, Pittsburgh played a really, really good game. The Bruins were terrible at their own zone. There were several offensive flurries on the part of the Pens where they should have probably got out to an even bigger lead, at one point leading by 3 goals. But yeah, that one was a wild one. But unfortunately, things went really south during the Philadelphia Flyers game. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they were down 2-0. The Flyers had just gone up by 2 in the third period. And then Sam Ersson, the backup goaltender who ended up starting for the Philadelphia Flyers, let in a really weak one, delayed reaction time. Think he got caught sleeping watching the play in the corner. And maybe that's just because Adam Fantilli is so good. Nice pass to Damon Severson, and he put it home. But a weak goal by Ersson kind of killed the Flyers' momentum and allowed the Blue Jackets a chance to get back into it. And they did. They got the game into overtime. The Flyers were not able to get an overtime goal, of course, and they weren't able to get any in the shootout. Columbus gets the job done. And that one was a terrible swing, because if the Flyers had held on, they didn't have to hold on and win 2-0. But if they had just held on or won in overtime, I would have been up 2.5 units, just about 2.48 units at that point. But instead, I lost a little bit, almost a quarter unit between those two plays, winning Pittsburgh and losing on Philadelphia. And then, of course, the Ottawa Senators and the Vegas Golden Knights, the two small half unit plays that I had, did not come through. And I mean, Vegas had some injury troubles of their own, but Alexander Barkov and Evan Rodriguez leaving that game. Barkov early in the game, he only played somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes in that one. That was unfortunate that Vegas could not capitalize on that happening. And that's a big storyline heading into Saturday. Will Barkov play against the Avalanche? Will Evan Rodriguez play? He's another valuable part, obviously not as valuable as Alexander Barkov. What you think of the old Habs last night, Jake? I mean, woof.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, speaking of Urson, kind of not getting the job done early on, you could kind of see that Jake Allen didn't really have it. Buffalo hit 2 posts in the first period from like 20 feet out, and Marc Denis, the French language analyst, was saying that Allen wasn't really tracking the puck from long distance very well, and then everybody kind of went like, "Oh man, this is gonna be bad," and then it went from bad to worse from there. Insights in the chat saying that Flyers had no legs in their first home game after a long road trip. It was the same for the Habs. I kind of thought that they would be, happy to be home, but it just didn't seem like they were up for it after such a long trip.
Yeah, that's easy to say in hindsight, but I mean, you look at the stats, and you look at just what the Flyers had done up to that point in that game. Maybe they weren't, their usual uh, energetic selves. They weren't as good on the forecheck as they usually are, etc. And they've been slumping for a little bit here, obviously. But you look here. I'm just going to pull it up really quick. You can go over to evolvinghockey.com. You can take a look at their live game logs. You can pull up the cumulative charts, and you'll see when the Flyers went up by 2, they had owned 63% of the shot attempts and 73% of the expected goals at that point. So they did get goalied a bit. I mean, Danil Tarasov played a good game, and the Flyers. I mean, the Flyers could have had a bigger lead. So yeah, they did get goalied a bit. So it's not. I don't think it's totally fair to say, oh, they didn't have their legs under them. I mean, they had their legs under them for a portion of the game where they really controlled the play, but it didn't translate to enough offense to get the job done. Clearly, they had things locked down defensively all the way up until, I mean, the 5 minute mark of the third period was when they allowed the first goal. So, I mean, the Flyers had played a decent game up to that point. Maybe not enough so to justify backing them as a big favorite in hindsight, but yeah, hindsight 2020, right? So, I don't know. I don't regret the play on the Flyers. I just regret that I didn't maybe give as much consideration to the fact that Samuel Urson would be in goal. His shootout magic wore out last night, that's for sure. But anyways, thanks for coming in, Insight. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Flyers outplayed them first 2, and then it evened out in the third, and the Blue Jackets got the job done. But yeah, you got to play a full 60 minutes, right? Can't get can't get away playing 40 minutes. We see it all the time. Teams kind of punch themselves out too, especially like you said after coming back after a long road trip. But let's talk about today's projections because I've got one small play. I'm going to place a half unit bet on the under in Winnipeg and Anaheim. Um, let's see here. Now, Anaheim, they've scored 2 or fewer goals in 15 of their last 22 games. They're missing some offensive players too, like Leo Carlson, Troy Terry. Not sure exactly what his status is, and Ryan Strome also on the shelf right now. Not sure what the lineup is going to look like. No, there's an illness kind of working its way through their lineup. And the Winnipeg Jets, they're on the second half of a back-to-back. Not just that, but they're playing their 5th game in 7 nights. So yeah, they're tired. And this could be a spot where Anaheim might be able to pounce on a team like Winnipeg, even in a spot like this. But with the Ducks, their offensive struggles combined with the fact that they're going to be probably missing some good offensive players on top of Leo Carlson, who is definitely out. The Jets, they've got the second best goals against per 60 minutes this season. And a lot of that is thanks to Connor Heidelbuck, but backup goaltender Laurent Brossoit, he's been solid as well. I wanted to play the under in the Sharks and Winnipeg game for a lot of the same reasons yesterday, but we didn't know at the time who would be starting in goal. And not that I'm against playing an under clearly with Laurent Brossoit in goal, but I just like to kind of know beforehand. So we know that Connor Hellebuck played last night. That means Brossoit is probably going to be in the net tonight. So, I mean, he's only allowed more than 3 goals in one of his 9 games this season. It was the first game that he's played. So he's been on quite a run here. And the Ducks, I mean, they're in the middle of the pack defensively over the last month, at least, thanks to really good goaltending from John Gibson and Lucas Dostal. I mean, Dostal coming off that unreal performance, losing effort in overtime against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but very strong performance. So yeah, I'm on the under 6 minus 110. It's going to be a half unit play. It's really all I like for Friday. I know the total projection is not up on the screen, just money lines right now. But yeah, I think that this one, according to my model, closer to 5.6 goals projected for this one. So under 6 at minus 110. Shop around for this one. There are several books that have 6 flat under minus 110. So that's a half unit play. 0.55 units to win a half a unit. Locking that in right now. And that's going to be my only play for Friday. I mean, we've got 3 games on the docket. And of course, a couple of or three games on the docket and three pretty big favorites. I mean, the Carolina and Winnipeg down in the minus 170s, minus 180s. Currently, the Hurricanes are minus 175. At NorthStar Bets, the Capitals coming back on the other side, plus 143. The Winnipeg Jets minus 182 at NorthStar Bets, while the Anaheim Ducks are plus 150. I don't see many people. I can't see why anybody would see value in the Ducks at a price like that. Especially considering their injuries. Winnipeg, I mean, they don't have the best underlying metrics, but they've been lights out, specifically defensively, and that's in large part due to their goaltending. So nothing really of interest. The Hurricanes, I think they should be a bigger favorite, minus 170 according to the model against the Washington Capitals. While I mean, it's always tough to price a game like this game between the New Jersey Devils and the Chicago Blackhawks. With the Devils, they're clearly not a bad team. They've got some injury troubles right now without Dougie Hamilton. Not sure what Timo Meyer's status is going to be here in the short term, but it's tough with a team like the Blackhawks, right? The model has New Jersey as let's see here. I do not have it up. Yes, I do. Sorry. Um, Minus 369. Nice. Yeah, so I mean, the best price in market right now is at an exchange not available to me here in Edmonton. It's plus 165 at an outfit called Sport Trade New Jersey. I'm assuming that's what the NJ stands for. Actually, I know it does, but yeah, so that's plus or plus 365. The model thinks they should be plus 369. So regardless, no matter where you're at in the world, I don't think you can find a plus EV price on the Blackhawks, and conversely, the New Jersey Devils, I think are at minus 400 or higher. I mean, just totally out of range. I'm sure you're going to have lots of people adding the Devils in regulation and puck line on the parlays. Hopefully that works out for you guys, but not me. I'm going to skip over these games and look at Saturdays. So if we want to talk about the schedule breakdown a little bit, we can. Jake, if you don't mind pulling that up on the screen. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, so like I said, the Winnipeg Jets, they are in the midst of playing 6 games in 9 nights. That's going to happen on Monday. That's or Sunday. Yeah, Monday. No, Sunday. Sunday. January 7th is Sunday. That's going to happen on Sunday. They're going to be in Arizona, closing out this stretch of 6 games in 9 nights, and they've done pretty well. So the Jets, they've got an easy schedule. The fifth easiest schedule overall remaining in the NHL. Talked about that a little bit in a short video on Thursday that we put up. That just why Winnipeg showed some value at plus 250 to win the Central Division. They were plus 195 this morning when I checked. So clearly their win last night. The Dallas Stars lost. The Avalanche are in the top spot right now, but I believe the Jets just still 1 point behind. I guess nothing has really changed, and Winnipeg has a game in hand, although that'll change tonight. So the Jets, they've got a chance, if my brain is working right, to tie the Avalanche, or to yeah, tie. I gotta pull this up so I know what I'm talking about here. Too many numbers, man. Too many numbers. It's all. I'm like that the hangover guy. The meme. Yeah, the Avs, they are 1 point. Just 1 point, and the Jets have 2 games in hand. So the Avs are 1 point ahead of them. So yeah, they've got a chance to leapfrog into the top spot in the Central Division tonight. And things stayed the same, things didn't stay the same in the Atlantic Division. That was the other division that we talked about in that video. The Boston Bruins, they were at 48% to win the Atlantic Division, according to the model yesterday. The Florida Panthers, 42%, but the Panthers, they were up at plus 250 to win the Atlantic, while Boston was at minus 139. That has changed overnight with the Panthers pulling within 2 points of the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins still have 1 game in hand on the Panthers, so that's got a little bit to do with why they are still quite a bit more likely to win the division than Florida. But I mean, we saw it again last night. Pittsburgh played a really good game. Boston's been struggling lately, guys. I don't know if they will struggle against Tampa Bay, because the Lightning, they did get a win on Tuesday. The Lightning are hurting right now. They're without Mikhail Sergachev, Eric Cernak. They called up some defensemen from the American Hockey League. Not a great spot to be in. Boston, I mean, they're scoring a lot right now. In the last 4 or 5 games or so, or actually the last 5 games, I believe they scored at least 4 goals in each of their last 5 games. Before that, though, there was a little bit of a stretch, quite a longer stretch actually, where they were kind of struggling on offense. So I wouldn't totally be surprised to see things revert back to that at any point here with the Boston Bruins, because their underlying metrics are not strong right now. After last night, they ranked 26th according to Evolving Hockey's expected goals models. So yeah, but I do want to get to my favorite bet for Saturday, and it's going to be my only bet until I find a total that I like, which I haven't really had a chance to look at. I'm kind of doing that on the fly. Uh, the Nashville Predators. So look, the Dallas Stars, they're awaiting word on Miro Heiskanen, defenseman. Wondering, they're hoping that he's not going to be out long term. They're optimistic that he's not going to be out long term, according to reports that are coming out this morning. So usually that means, Jake and I were talking before the show. I mean, usually when when they're putting out releases like that, it means that the guy's going to be out at least a couple of games, at least a game or two, or maybe he's at a week or two. So I'm pretty comfortable assuming that he's going to be out personally, but just to be safe, um, I've made it a 50-50 shot that he's not going to be in the lineup on Saturday. And same goes for Jake Ottinger, because Scott Wedgwood, he had it rough last night. He was getting pushed around a bit, and I mean, I think he's had some games recently that have been pretty physical as far as the goaltending position goes. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do push a little bit for Ottinger to get back in the crease. But if he's not ready, he's not ready. So he's returned to practice. He was at their optional skate on Thursday, so he's definitely nearing a return. I had him out, or projected that he would be out at least the rest of this week. But yeah, the model thinks that Nashville, with Ottinger having a 50-50 chance of playing and Miro Heiskanen having a 50-50 chance of playing, those are just guesses that I'm making just to kind of play things a little safer than assuming both players will be out of the lineup, because I think that is a little bit, I think I'd be jumping the gun there to make that assumption. So I'm going to lock the Nashville Predators in. You know what? Screw it, because there is a little bit of guesswork here. I wasn't sure if I was going to lay, or going to take this plus 150 that's available at NorthStar Bets. I wasn't sure if I was going to take it for a half unit or a full unit, because I believe if I look at the Kelly here, Kelly criterion, which I use to kind of estimate how much I should bet on each game. Um, we've got, yeah, plus 150 equates to 0.68% risk. If I'm going to follow this, I know I've been doing the 1 unit flat. I'm going to put 0.75 units on this one. It's going to be, a 3/4 unit bet, and we'll lock that in at plus 150. The Preds, they haven't had a lot of success against the Nashville, or sorry, against the Dallas Stars, but hey, maybe that'll turn tomorrow with some injury luck in their favor. There are, yeah, it's probably worth shopping around for this one, I guess. Let's see here. No, yeah, I mean, always shop around, obviously, but plus 150, that's available at a market maker right now. It's also available at NorthStar Bets. Going to lock this one in for 0.75 units to win, 1.13 units, plus 150 on the Nashville Predators. Um, that is my favorite bet for Saturday, at least right now. Gonna see what else is out there. Jake, you got any stories to tell me while I look at my computer?
No, not really. We were just
Uh,
talking about how I once saw Jamie McLennan at the airport once, and I couldn't believe how small he was. We were talking about how goalies used to be tiny guys that could move around, and then the meta kind of changed to big giant 6'5" guys like myself. And it was funny because Canada's goalie in the World Juniors that like people were blaming, even though he was moving in one direction and the puck bounced to the other direction when he let in that goal. I think is 5'11". So a lot of
oh,
people
really?
saying like, "Oh, he's not going to make it in the NHL" and stuff like that. But I, for one, would like to see a return of these little like squirrely guys who are kind of doing backflips and stuff in the crease. I don't know what the chatters think about that, but I'd like to see some smaller goalies get back in the league.
Yeah, and I know it was the equipment too, but actually, I'm gonna look up right now. I want to know how tall Grant Fuhr was because he, like, I was actually watching some of the clips from his documentary recently. I think it's called Making Coco. Um, he looks so small in those old Oilers clips. Like he looks so tiny in that net. And I know, like I said, it's some of it is the equipment, but oh, okay, yeah.
Compared to the
Fuhr
current
was Fuhr was so
trends.
fun to watch too. Like his highlights are awesome. They're so wild. Nothing looked easy.
No, they worked
All
for it
right.
back then.
So, funny enough, one of the games that has not that no sports books have a total up right now for, excuse me, is the Vancouver Canucks at the New Jersey Devils. I think everybody's just wondering, like, where are people going to open this line? Who they're waiting for another sports book to open this one because I've of course I've got the Devils and the Canucks. I don't think that this should be a surprise. That is projected to be the highest scoring game on Saturday, according to my model. I've got 6.72 goals projected for that one. So maybe fewer than you would think, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this one open up. Obviously, I expect it to open up seven over shaded, plus money on the over side. We'll see, but maybe I'm wrong here. I sure as hell hopefully do not end up on the under on that one. The other game that nobody's putting a total up for, there are three games right now, including the Vancouver Canucks and New Jersey Devils. Nobody's got a total up for the St. Louis Blues and Carolina Hurricanes. That's because the Hurricanes, or most likely because the Hurricanes are in action tonight. Don't know who's going to be in goal, etc. Um, and the other one is the Florida Panthers and Colorado Avalanche. And I would say that has, mostly everything to do with is Alexander Barkov going to play, right? That's a big difference maker for the Florida Panthers. And it also makes that game really tough to handicap because, not only is Barkov out, but Evan Rodriguez left Thursday's game against the Vegas Golden Knights as well. And yeah, that makes it tough to handicap Saturday's game between the Panthers and the Colorado Avalanche, or the Havelanche, like apparently it sounds like that's my what I sound like when I say them. Just like when I say apparently, you're supposed to pronounce it hurricanes, like not hurricanes, but I pronounce it hurricanes. It's just the way I am. I'm sorry. People have pointed that out numerous times. Okay. So, two bets so far. One for Friday, the Anaheim Ducks and the Winnipeg Jets, half unit. Looking to win a half unit on under six at minus 110. And a money line bet on Saturday, the Nashville Predators plus 150. That's a 0.75 unit play. Really, money line prices at first blush looking pretty tough here. I mean, for me, uh, you know, I actually think that I could justify playing Vancouver if I could get plus 120, which is available to some people in some other provinces, but or not or plus 117, which I mean I think I've cycled through three accounts at that sports book, so uh, can't do that anymore. But yeah, no, I'm not going to look at Vancouver until I see some plus 120 or something available to me against the Devils. not opposed to fading New Jersey, considering their goaltending problems and defensive problems in general. So yeah, looking for hmm. Should have some like elevator music to play while I have to search the board to see if anything is if there are any discrepancies that are worth betting here. So you've got 1-7 on the board, and should be no surprise that it's the Ottawa Senators and the Edmonton Oilers because I mean the Oilers, I mean they're not a team that necessarily goes over the total all the time, but the Sens go over a lot more often than not. They're one of the teams that you'll see go over more than anybody else. Looking here, Ottawa, this missing a couple of days of data, but only one, two, three, four, five teams have gone over the total more than the Ottawa Senators, and the Edmonton Oilers are in the lower half of the upper middle of the pack. So they tend to go over, but not. But the games are um, lined pretty accurately just based on that. So yeah. Um, I mean, I don't hate the idea here of going over like just arbitrarily. A team like Dallas, they go over the total quite a bit. They've actually gone over to the tune of more than 60% this season. Nashville, almost the exact opposite though, but they're not necessarily a team that is totally unsusceptible to, allowing a bunch of goals or scoring a bunch of goals and being in a wild game. But the model, um, the model has 6.37 goals projected for that one. So cannot justify playing over 6.5. It's a lot easier if you're just guessing and throwing shit at the wall. I promise you. If that's what you want to do, I mean, you'll find lots of bets that you like. Because I'm sure I could talk if I was just doing this. If I was just guessing, I could talk myself into a bunch of stuff that I like. But I'm trying to handicap things, in a logical way. Use stats and analytics and all that stuff to inform my opinion. Insight: Oilers over 10-4 the last 14 home games. Yeah, I mean I would say this one's going over too, but what do I have here on yeah, I've got 7.06 goals projected for that one. So, yeah, pretty the over under is 7 minus 110, under minus 110, which means they're suggesting the projected total is basically exactly 7 goals, a 50-50% chance of, going over or under 7 goals. So, yeah. Um, the totals, I mean, you're betting over 7. You're going over that 36.4% of the time to date this season. You're going under about 42% of the time, and the rest of the time, almost 22%, you are landing exactly on 7 and getting your money back via the push. So, yeah, over 60% of the time in these games that are line 7, it's going under or it's pushing. At least that's what's been happening to date. And those put that push percentage that around 20%, that was a lot higher last season. But scoring is up, right? So or the season before, sorry, but scoring is up. So that's why that more games are going over, but there are more games that are being lined at 7. Well over 60% of the games feature a total of 6.5 or 7, because for the first time in 3 decades we've got um, back-to-back calendar years where the scoring rate has been at least 6.3 goals per game. So yeah, the NHL is changing, guys. But I honestly we pushed the show back today, guys, because I wanted to wait, give a chance to, give some time for some more markets to open up here. So I'm kind of doing a lot of the work that I would be doing before the show usually during the show. So yeah. Wasn't the plan, but that's what happens when you try to get a you're waiting on places to open markets and they're not opening them when they usually do. I'm curious to see who starts if Elvis is back in for Minnesota or for Columbus on Saturday. I would consider under 6 in that one. Projected total of 5.14 if Merzlikins is in goal for the Blue Jackets. So yeah, that's quite a ways away from the where it's at right now on the total of 6, but kind of would like some more information there on that one. The New York Islanders and Vegas Golden Knights. That is a bit of an interesting one there. Um, if William Carlson was not out of the lineup, Shea Theodore, etc., I'd be a little bit more incentivized here to bet the over in that one because the Islanders, they are an over team if I've ever seen one. Um, and they've got some injuries to their defense with Ryan Pulock and Adam Pellich out. Also, Robert Bertuzzo and Simeon Varlamov, the backup goaltender, is also out, although that wouldn't really matter because they can only put one goaltender in the net anyway, of course. But, with Shea Theodore, William Karlsson out of the lineup, the Golden Knights, it's, man, I'm still burned that they could not capitalize on that injury to Alexander Barkov on Thursday. But the Golden Knights, they've struggled offensively, and I'm not gonna bet on that changing tomorrow unless they get some key cogs back in the lineup because they've scored uh, 3 or fewer goals in their last 5 games. They've actually scored over 3 goals just once in their last 5 games. It's been 2 goals, getting shut out, scoring 1 goal against the Panthers in that 4-1 loss. Um, yeah, the Islanders, they're over 17-6 to the over in their last 23 games. Um and and yeah, that's been a trend all season long pretty much. I mean, looking at my sheet here, only 4 teams. The Canucks, the Red Wings, the Devils, and the Dallas Stars have gone over the total more than the New York Islanders. But yeah, just is what it is, guys. I'm not gonna be able to force anything here today. I'm gonna have to reconvene when I get a chance to look at things a little more. I'm just gonna stick with the 2 bets for now. Um and hope to find a little bit more later because um yeah, it's just I don't know. Look at the board. There's not a lot out there, really. Looks like I was hoping to see a better price on the Vancouver Canucks, maybe because my model has the Canucks right basically where NorthStar Bets has them right now. So no real interest there. But looking here, although it's not available to me, does kind of reflect where a lot of the other sports books are probably going to open up. DraftKings opens up at -122 in favor of the New Jersey Devils, plus 102 in favor of or on the side of the Vancouver Canucks. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, if I think it's a terrible thing to do if especially if you're new to sports betting, if you're gonna like anchor yourself to a team and be like, you know what, I love the Canucks on Saturday against New Jersey, and I'm betting them whether they're, regardless of what the odds are, because that's a good way to make a lot of bad decisions, and I don't do it like that. But yeah, I mean, everything's tough. The Minnesota Wild, there's some maybe a little bit of value there. They opened up minus 128 at one of the market makers, but then again, uh, it's really hard to project Minnesota right now. You look at their injury list; they lost Spurgeon again on the other night. So where is last night? I guess yeah. So like Felino is out right now. He's day to day. Jared Spurgeon expected to be out until at least January 10th. Matt Zuccarello expected to be out until at least January 13th. Kirill Kaprizov out until at least January 15th, indefinitely, I believe. And then, of course, you got the goaltender Philip Gustafson out until the 15th, and Jonas Brodin. So I'm doing a lot of guesswork here with the Minnesota Wild, and you could say I got the game between the Flyers and the Blue Jackets wrong last night. Maybe doing a lot of guesswork with the Blue Jackets too. They're really injured as well, so you got two teams that are really injured. It's pretty tough to handicap, and you know, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a weird slate, and not a lot popping out to me as far as anything that I need to feel like I've got an advantage over the bookmaker in order to want to make a bet. And so far, as much as I guess I don't feel like I've got a big advantage over the bookmaker for this total here, of course, lots of opportunities for that line to move, and it didn't overnight. So at least not more than I thought it should. So yeah, minus 110. I still think there's some value there under six, Anaheim and Winnipeg at minus 110, just a half unit play. And I think there's some value on the Predators on Saturday to beat the Dallas Stars. Although, like I said, it's been a rough go for the Preds against the Stars for the last little while. So yeah, those are my two bets heading into the weekend, and hopefully I'll find some more that I can relay to you guys in a short video on Saturday, or maybe even on Friday night. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to be looking for more. Obviously, I want to get capitalize on whatever I can here. But just right now, these are the two games where I feel like I can exploit things a little bit, and hopefully turn over a profit. But that pretty much does it for today's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Looking at the chat right now, Connor says there's a good over six or good 6.5 price at FanDuel on tonight's total. What total are we talking about? Oh, on the Anaheim and Winnipeg total. So yeah, you can bet. I saw that actually. Good point in the chat, Connor. Of course, I mean if you're in the United States, you don't have access to our and you have access to FanDuel. Then maybe that's something to consider. So looking back at is it the yeah it's yeah under 6.5 minus 134. Not bad, not bad, not bad. But yeah, that does it for today's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. I tried. I really did. I tried. Thanks for especially the insight and Connor in the chat. One more question that I already answered, but it looks like Thomas tuned in a little bit later, which no problem. Thanks for tuning in at any time. Um, I think the Bolts, they do have a chance, and I look at the line. I think Boston, the prices on the Bruins have been inflated, but unless the odds move in a bigger direction um, towards the Boston Bruins, make the Tampa Bay Lightning a bigger underdog, or they get Mikhail Sergachev or somebody back, which I don't think is going to happen, then yeah, I'd be on the Lightning at that point. But until that happens, no, I'm not interested in the Lightning or the Bruins. I think it's Lightning or nothing. If you look at the model, Tampa Bay is plus 139 favorite according to my model. So that's my handicap for the game. But if you look at the current odds at NorthStar Bets, then I believe you are seeing something around plus 132, I want to say. So plus 144 is a price at a faraway place. Um, and that is the best available price in the market. So now if nobody takes that at this faraway place, that is a gray area, let's just say. If nobody takes that, they do have some sway. So I could see things moving in that direction. But the plus 136, that is the next best price in market. That's not even good enough for me to justify making a bet on the Tampa Bay Lightning. At that plus 145 range, definitely will consider it, but it would probably be a smaller play first of all, and I'm going to be a little bit weary of this Lightning team. It's all going to come down to whether they can match the Bruins goaltending, and whether Boston can, kind of slump a little bit offensively, because they have not been recently, scoring at least 4 goals in their last 5 straight games. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, Thomas. Thanks for the question. Once again, thanks to everybody who tuned in. Please like the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. Might have some content for you over the weekend. We'll definitely be back on Monday to kick next week off as per usual. Thanks for everything, Jake. Great job. I'm gonna remember this day as like almost like your flu game. Like your Jordan flu game. You really powered through this one. You're under the weather, but yeah,
Yeah,
you made it. You made it happen.
a lot of coughing and sneezing in the background that people can't hear, fortunately. So powering through, and yeah, happy weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you over the weekend, maybe, or on Monday. Take care. Good luck with your bets, and have a great one.